Hey guys, Board now back with you. On this video I will be talking about the latest episodes of Spides. So this is the 7th episode of the first season, and so we're one more to go after this. And the episode is called Gemini. Don't know why it's so hard to say that, but the title comes from the fact that Nora meets up with creepy bearded guy, and creepy bearded guy, I think his name's like Primo or something beginning with P anyway. He kind of says to her that we essentially come from Gemini DNA. To Nora, the only way to stop this invasion and to save the world is if we kill you, because you're obviously the queen. And he says there's no other way. Obviously is hesitant about this. She says, well, there must be another way, and she's obviously not gonna let him kill her. And she has a gun basically, and the scene she gets the gun is pretty funny because she goes to Marie's brother, who of course there's a bit of an attraction between them, and she tricks him, to get the gun because she knows he's got a gun. And it's this funny little scene where he's basically watching a porno in the middle of the day, and he's already getting into it. He's got his hands down his pants when she rings the doorbell, and it's just funny because she walks in and it's still on. He still hasn't turned it off, and she's like, "Oh, really?" And he sort of shrugs, but it's just funny that then after she leaves, he sort of goes straight back into it, even though he's kind of been like caught and shamed. But he later finds out that's the reason for the visit, so that she could like nick his gun, and that's because she wants to go and see creepy bearded guy with a weapon, because obviously she doesn't trust him. And they trick him. They send him a message from Sarah's phone, and they make him think that he's meeting up with Sarah, whereas it's really Nora. So Nora gets all this information, and throughout the rest of the episode she kind of wrestles with this idea of, well, should she kill herself? Would that be better for everyone? And she contemplates it at some point. And there's this like ridiculous scene where Marie's brother basically seduces her, and it's downstairs in the hall. It's after they've had like a group meeting, and she's kind of explained, well, this is the deal basically. And the line of the episode, because there's normally like a standout line in each episode, is her saying, "There's no way I'm having sex with a bug," which is just great. But yeah, she goes downstairs, and again, I forget the name. I'm going to call him Sergey, but the one she's had like an attraction to, because hey, he's a bit of a bad boy. They start having sex, and it's because she's like on the verge of maybe killing herself. So it's almost like to distract her, he like seduces her, and they start having sex in the middle of the hall. And it definitely sex. It's not just like them passionately, basically. And they get pretty. It's a crazy scene, but then Peter actually comes down, and I don't think they see him, but he sort of sees them. So you've got a bit of a drama there, because technically him and Nora are still going out, and he's very much on the sort of good side now, if you like. But they're obviously continuing this whole soapy team relationship with Nora and Marie's brother. But anyway, that's the whole thing. And what I like about the twin thing in this episode is that Sarah actually covers for Nora. So as Nora goes to see the guy to get information. Sarah actually pretends to be Nora. She takes her nose ring out because that's the only real way you can tell them apart. So she goes downstairs and has dinner as normal, pretending to be Nora with the mum and the son, or her brother technically. And it's only later that the mother catches her out because she's having a bath, and the mother notices all these scars on her back, which obviously Nora doesn't have. And that's it, the cat's out the bag. The mother knows that it's Sarah. And it's a whole thing. And another kind of like revelation in this episode is that the dad comes home and he suddenly seems a lot more murky and creepy, which I could have told you from the first time you saw him, because he does look like one of these really creepy, like big business type dudes. But he reveals then he actually sold Sarah when they were young, and he kind of covers it by saying, but to be fair to me, they did say they were gonna like fix her to help her health. He sort of preferences it with that, but at the same time, it doesn't change the fact that he sold his daughter. So that's a whole thing, and he's kind of disgraced and leaves in anger because he's obviously mad that she's shown up now and doesn't really want anything to do with her. But it's one of these big melodramatic soap type moments. But I did like the stuff with Sarah, like covering for Nora, and obviously that coming out, then Sarah's back home, and this is a whole thing. And the actual episode ends with basically the bug, the spider bug, the alien, whatever you want to call it, heading towards Earth, heading towards where we are, because they haven't, obviously Nora's still alive, she's still the queen, and that sets us up for the finale. So interesting to see if we get any more, or if this is just a one-off season. Switching to the other side plot, Dave's plot. The actual episode starts with Motescu, I'm gonna say is how you pronounce it, the Russian mob boss. We actually see him at the start breaking into like the factory, breaking into like the center, and just demolishing like the sort of whatever they keep the DNA and the stuff in. And we later see then they've destroyed it, so they've destroyed any hopes of able to put together this army and all their technology. But they say there's another way, and that is to contact Nora to try and track her, because she is the host, she's the one that's still alive. And so I guess he did that because he's working with Dave. But we start off with Dave actually being handcuffed, so creepy bit handcuffing Dave and not actually killing him. And so now the power is sort of reversed. There is a revelation on Dave's part, because the Russian mob guy actually tells him then Serena, his late wife, his late partner, was actually one of these aliens, and that's why she was killed. So I guess you have a bit of a soapy thing there, a bit unnecessary maybe, but it does tie in at least, because she's obviously been mentioned, and it at least sort of connects it. But yeah, Russian mob guy basically kidnaps the male model, his son, and kidnaps him to try and obviously reverse what's happening and find his son. And this is the really yucky bit of the episode, although they disguise it because obviously they can only get away with so much, I guess this is network TV sort of thing. But he actually like cuts into him to try and find his son, to try and if there's any essence of his son. And you're sort of thinking, what are you doing, you crazy idiot? You're more likely to kill him and kill your son. So it's a really bloody scene, although we don't see much of it. We hear the reactions. We see from the back of the chair, and we just see blood sort of dripping from the chair. But it's one of these batshit crazy scenes, which is just, wow, what the hell's going on here? I can't imagine how that's really something which is going to work out, but I guess we'll pick up with that next week. So that's pretty much the episode. That's Spides, episode 7, first season. So we've got one more episode of this season, yeah, and it's all going to come together, and I'll have a review for that up later in the week because it airs tomorrow night in the UK. So just a couple of other newer stuff you can check out on the channel. You can check out my reviews of Perry Mason, the new HBO version that I've nearly at the end of that now. The first season, I've done 6 episodes of that, reviews, and also just new to Netflix, the second season of Umbrella Academy. I've done the first review of that. If you're interested in that show, you can catch that on the channel. But I'll be back soon with more new TV reviews. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.